And shall we let people come in? I think would be good. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It is Friday, thank goodness. And it is time for PMO HotHouse. Hope you're all well. Shall we get going? It's going to be a packed session today, I think. So let's get going. Whoosh! I like that little noise at the end. This makes it feel like we're going to be off and out of the traps. Hopefully you all are well. If you are watching us on live stream, hello, hi. If you'd like to comment on anything that you're seeing today, please do. We will make sure that we bring those into the chat. We are also here with an audience. So hello, everyone. Hopefully you're having a good rest to end of your week and ready for some lovely PMO-ness. Here in the audience, they also have the ability to chat and say hello and let us know where you're from and what's going on, and just basically chatting as we go through this session. So yeah, hi Eileen, hi John, how are you both doing? Are you ready for HotHouse?
Oh, I'm ready for HotHouse. I'm on holiday next week, so this is my last kind of physical thing before we head off.
As I said, doing lunch and clocking off. Lovely, enjoy. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've had a long week earlier in the week. I was on the receiving end of some training. I was doing a practice professional bridging certification course, which is great. Then the last couple of days I've been delivering training, doing safe Scrum Master training, and this is my last sort of output thing of the day. Then the afternoon for me is just catching up with my team and those kind of things. So I've also sort of seen this as my final sort of output of learning, I guess, and then it's into catching up with my team before the weekend. So I've been looking forward to this one all week as well.
Yeah, very lovely. So let's crack on then, shall we? Because we have got a very busy show with lots to tell. Okay, so it is live PMO news. I'm going to hand over to John, who's going to be sharing some of his PMO news. What's been happening, John? What have you got to share with us?
Well, it's been another busy month, and it's always a sort of challenge with these things, how sifting through the noise, because there's been bits of conferences and things and get-togethers, and you sort of look at them and go, well, what actually you can sort of go to these things and they can be interesting. And you look at what are the key takeaways, and I sort of sometimes struggle to say, well, actually, what was the big thing that came out of it? So I've sort of chopped a lot of that stuff out, trying to chop away the noise and leave you with the sort of key takeaways and a little bit of homework for you that hopefully gives you enough to go away and do some reading yourself. So I have decided to focus on two things, if I may. I have got a working paper that Oxford have published called The Uniqueness Bias, and I really want to highlight the Project Management Journal for October, because it is, as you can probably just see there, special edition all about project management offices and organizational design. So let's dive into this this study first. So this is a working paper. It's something that's just out for discussion and exploration at the moment. But I read it and I loved it, and I highly recommend PMO people take some time and skim through this. So basically what they've done, they've ended up looking at 219 projects, and they've been looking at uniqueness bias. Now, for those of you who have heard me talk at things, you may have heard me in the past moan about the use of the word unique when we describe projects. I don't like it. I don't like that people have it in their definition of a project that it is a unique thing. And my main reason for not liking that is, well, as PMOs, what we're kind of looking to do is apply frameworks, apply structured ways of working, and actually take lessons from projects and apply those to the future to make sure we're continuously improving. If our projects are truly unique, then we'd be doing each one completely from the ground up, and we wouldn't ever be applying learning from the past. So I don't like the mindset that calling projects unique kind of has that comes with it. Anyway, what they've done here is they've taken these projects and they've very, very simply spoken to the project team and asked them to score on a sort of very, very simple 1 to 10 scale how unique they saw the perceived uniqueness of the project, basically. And then they've compared that with how the project has actually performed, and they've done a lot of sort of correlation. They've checked other correlations and things, and they found a very, very strong correlation with the perceived uniqueness of the project and underperformance. So whether it's late, over budget, and not deliver value, those kind of things. And they're seeing a strong correlation there, more so than other areas. That perceived uniqueness is basically correlating with projects underperforming, which then leads us to the obvious question: are these projects are these projects genuinely unique? Are they underperforming because they are genuinely unique? And they're going through this and actually saying, well, actually, a lot of these projects that we perceive as being highly unique are not actually highly unique because someone's done it before in the organization or elsewhere. Even when they talk about NASA going to the moon, they use examples that NASA defined where they've said, actually, these aren't unique. We're using building blocks of things that we've done before. And whilst I do have a typo in there, clearly, basically what they're concluding is in this, and it is a working paper, so still obviously needs further work on it, but they're basically saying actually decision hygiene is a big factor in reducing this so-called uniqueness bias in projects, which such as using a reference class forecasting, something called pre-mortems, where you're sort of looking at the start of a project and imagining you're at the end. And rather than doing a post-mortem at the end of a project, at the beginning, say, well, let's imagine we've done this. What are the things that we would likely be talking about in a post-mortem that went wrong? Let's have a look at those things and see how we can tackle this. So those kind of things leading into effective decision-making. Similarity-based forecasting. So what has been done like this in the past that we can use to estimate rather than using sort of purely Delphi and those kind of things. Where can we get that kind of information from? And the last one there is noise audits. People may or may not have come across those before, but it's another interesting one to look at in the context of portfolio project managers looking at your organizations, is basically looking at what estimates look like at the start of projects for how long they're going to take and seeing where there's differences between different experts. So are you seeing big differences? If you've got your expert people in your PMO estimating how long projects take, are you seeing wide levels of difference between what everybody's estimating? We're seeing that as noise, and the goal is to try and see how we can get those more consistent. And we get those consistent by everyone understanding what their differences are, what their different thinking is, getting to a common understanding of some of the challenges, reducing the noise down. Now, that is quite different from saying our estimates are consistently under or our estimates are consistently over on things. That's not seen as noise because you've still got a pattern there. As long as those estimates are, if you know your estimates are always under, everyone's always optimistic, you can adjust for that in the PMO. You can say, okay, we're going to add 20% to the estimates that come out of engineering because we know they're always pessimistic, and we can add those things on. With noise, it's a lot harder because it's almost stochastic. You're seeing data points all over the place, and there's no obvious pattern between those estimates you're getting. So have a look around for those where you've got that noise and big differences in people's opinion on what their estimates are, and see how you can work to bring some normality to those, even if people are under or over. You're looking for consistency in there. So yeah, fascinating insight, and I really like the fact that they're openly challenging uniqueness bias, and something that I've been talking about for a while. They've actually put some research behind it, and are actually quantifying that people saying their projects are unique is correlated with those projects underperforming. So a good one, well worth reading and thinking about there. That one. The next one we've got. So project management journal. I find these hit and miss. There's some good stuff in there. Some months there's some weak stuff. The other times I've mentioned a few articles from it in the past. But what I just wanted to highlight here is this is a special issue, thinking about PMOs and organizational design, and they've got a few things they sort of cover off here, thinking about different ways that PMOs can be run or defined. I'm thinking a lot about the interplays between obviously PMOs and project governance, but also looking at the PMO in the context of organizational design, because as those of us who work in a portfolio PMO know, the PMO is not a construct of project management. The PMO is a construct of the organization. So if you have a body of knowledge for how we do projects sit around here, for example, that sits underneath the PMO. The PMO owns the body of knowledge, the BOC, for how we do projects around here, because the PMO is the organizational function that oversees, assures, and governs projects. And sometimes, depending on your organization, actually then owns the delivery of those as well. So it's looking at the PMO through the lens of organizational design. And one of the things I quite like what they're saying here is actually, once you look at it from that point of view, you're not just looking at what the PMO can do to improve project delivery, but can we have impacts in other areas of the business as well? So this is a good one to look into on your lunch breaks. You don't need to be a PMI member to have a look at this online. The articles are there and downloadable. Three key ones that I like: it takes two to tango, the interactive effect of project portfolio management offices, and voice behavior on quality and business success. This is looking at taking the voice of the customer, how that correlates with the role the PMO has and what impact that has on delivery and quality. We've got large scale transformation projects and how they look at knowledge capture, which obviously is knowledge is an area where PMOs focus an awful lot. And then a question about the role that PMOs have beyond organizational boundaries, and asking if there's a gap there in terms of organizational design. And I'd say it's quite a lot. I know everybody at the moment in terms of development, day in, day out, everyone is saying that the next big ask from everybody is we need to be studying AI, or we need to be studying sort of prompting large language models, all these kind of things. That seems to be where everybody wants their training at the moment. I would encourage PMO people, certainly those who are looking sort of in senior level enterprise PMOs, to actually start looking at organizational design as well, because it seems to be coming as PMOs have moved from this admin function to overseeing things. The PMOs that I'm talking about and that I'm talking to are very much interested in organizational design. And certainly as we have more agile projects, agile, certainly scaled agile, is a lot more about how we operationalize project delivery. And you see, therefore, you need to have a greater understanding of organizational design as well. Good book on that one, which is ironic given that we often talk about the fact that we don't do the admin. We're not seen as an admin function anymore. But I'm just going to show you this one here. I've got blurred screen, so you can't see it. I'll show it as a link. It's called Administrative Behavior by Herbert A. Simon. But he's talking about the administration of organizations. It's a study of decision-making processes in administrative organizations. So it's looking at how you organize for effective decision making. None of it is new. It's a book that's been around for a very, very, very long time. But for me, this idea of organizational design kind of is moving away from these disparate models that we've been so focused on, our Scrum model, our Prince 2 model, and these kind of things, and actually looking at the wider organizational context as well. So those are my two things that I want to highlight from the news: the Project Management Journal, which has a lot of stuff in there about the PMO, that fantastic working report from Oxford about uniqueness is well worth a read, and something we should all be reminding our project managers that their stuff is not that unique and they should be learning from the past. And encourage you all to have a think about organizational design as something that certainly senior people, heads of enterprise PMOs might want to think about in terms of furthering their own development as a change from all of the AI stuff that everyone else is encouraging you to do at the moment. And that's me. That's my sort of big bits of news roundup. I normally talk about things that are upcoming in the future. I've not done that here, mainly because big thing coming up. I understand it's happening in Scotland, and I figured that might be something that Eileen and Lindsay would probably want to tell you about, because that's a PMO thing.
Yeah, I think there's something coming up in Edinburgh. But
I thought there might
thanks,
be.
John. Really fascinating. Thank you very much. I think there's going to be some stuff that we're all going to have to be checking out there. I think I'd put into the comments that if you are not already part of our LinkedIn group, that's where we put lots of little bits and pieces in there as well. But thank you, John. Let's move on, shall we? It has been a really busy month, October, for getting out and about, and certainly for between Eileen and I, and John.
Haven't been in the office at all.
What we thought we'd do is just bring you a selection of stuff that's been going on, which we just think that you might want to be kept in the know about. And so first thing right at the beginning of the month, service catalogue project. We've not had an update on this for quite a while. So Eileen.
Right then, so Lindsay's got the button, so she's got to press 3 buttons, kind of one at a time, but we kind of do them pretty quickly. So only because I tried to kind of what not acronyms, that's not the word, but some way of kind of saying what we're doing. So the service catalogue project has definitely gotten its stride. Yes, we've now got a regular drum beat, click, and we are now cooking on gas. There we go. There's my lovely free kind of sayings for a Friday. We're busy kind of working through all of the various sections. We've made a decision to group the services aligned to the competencies and the competence framework. So there's a kind of a clearer link between these are the competencies you need and these are the types of services that you can provide once you've got those competencies. So we made that decision. What's starting to happen now is that individuals of the working group are taking those service areas and are running supplementary meetings. So the main tranche, we have 1 week in one meeting a week. So it could be an afternoon, it could be an evening. We do 1 face-to-face meeting a month, which is Lindsay came along to watch us there. And then we'll have a kind of a progress meeting to keep us on track. So we're starting, different people who are in the group are starting to kind of roll out and kind of do groups themselves now. If we go on to the next slide, essentially this is what our working group looks like. Yes, we have a few of us who've actually worked really, really hard to get us to where we are, but there is lots of room for people to join us. And when we started off doing the project, we thought, well, we'd have some people who kind of been there, seen it before, and kind of do the overall guidance piece. And then we'd have lots of other people join us who had done service catalogues before to actually contribute to developing and actually articulating some of those services. So what we found is a couple of really interesting things is that because we've got kind of a few more senior people on the group, we've almost kind of forgotten about what it is to be a PMO analyst sometimes. And so we're quite used to kind of delivering some of those kind of portfolio management services. But actually we need much more work thinking about actually what some of the analysts and what some of the administrators do. So we're actually looking for anybody and everybody, whatever level you work within a PMO, you would be more than welcome to join the working group. I think the other thing that that we're starting to recognise is that it doesn't matter how junior or senior you are, this is a development activity. We are all learning lots and lots as we go through. Some of those kind of conversations and those discussions really help us to develop new knowledge and really kind of think about what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and some useful things that we're going to be incorporating into the service catalogue, into the next version of the service catalogue. The other thing I would say is that you know, you can come and you can contribute. And if you're looking at, I was going to say, if you're looking kind of think, well, I've done the PMO training courses, I'm really looking for something to kind of really develop my skills and knowledge, then actually this is a great place for a development activity for you over the next year. So it doesn't have to be that you're kind of developing a service catalogue for your organisation. It literally is just, I want to learn a little bit more. I love the way Lindsay's moving me on because we've got a lot to do. So just to make it clear about kind of where you volunteer for that. So if you go to the House of PMO, look under publications, and it says the PMO service catalogue project working group. You'll just fill in a form. What we ask people are that they're at least a free member. I will send you out an NDA agreement, and then you'll be signed up. I'll do a quick briefing session, and then you can kind of join us in the game. There's a few people on the call. They'll tell you what a fantastic activity it is to be involved in, and you'll have your name in the book. Even better.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. We also got asked to go and talk at Sci-Forma Keyed In and their user conference, which was fascinating on many different reasons. It's always good to hear how PMO people what they're doing in terms of utilizing their tools. And interestingly, for this user group conference, I would say that 95% of the people in that room were PMO people. So that tells you a lot about who's the user of these tools. We went along and did a session about emerging trends at the lovely Waldorf Hotel in London. Not just about the emerging trends there and standing up there and saying this is what's coming down the line and we all need, it's actually how to actually handle it. It's all right just saying, this is going to be a thing, go and work out what it is that you're doing. We did make sure that we talked about how to handle some of these things. And I think what Eileen and I will probably do is run that session again, because it wasn't recorded. We've never done that session before. And really, really fascinating feedback as well from people that are in that room. I think out of all of them, in terms of what resonated the most. Eileen, can you remember in the afternoon when we started to do the World Cafe, which we're going to lead on to here, but if you looked around the room as to how many people were around the tables, which one was the most popular? Do you remember?
I think it was the delivery frameworks, was it not?
It was all about enabling PPM stuff, but yes, talking about the fact that there's so many different ways to deliver a project, i.e. skin a cat, but how PMO people are dealing with that. So again, we'll have some insights. I think we'll run that session for the wider community, because I think there was some really interesting feedback that came out of it as well. So yes, it was delivery frameworks, because in the afternoon we had this thing called the PMO World Cafe, and for anybody who's been in and around House of PMO Flash Mob over the years, you'll know that we've done this a couple of times. And all it is having people around the table with a paper tablecloth that you can write on. And basically getting people to talk about certain things. And what we've done then from the emerging trends is take each one of those and allow people to come together and to talk about what this means for both them. So what is it that you're feeling right now in terms of yourself? What about what your organization might be doing around some of these things? And also moving forwards, what might be needed within your PMO, within your organization. So this was the delivery framework one. And again, just to give you the insight of what kind of stuff that people are talking about around the table. So this one here about where, where people feel they are at the moment, you can see, yes, some of it was around waterfall and agile, but actually we'd also talked about DevOps coming in to play here, and product management and as well. So those were again, some of the insights coming out of the people around the table in terms of what they were feeling around some of these emerging trends. Again, what's the organization doing around some of these things? Interesting to see that word that I love, value. But talking again, just to, I suppose, to highlight the different types of organizations, the different types of PMOs around the table, and what it is that they're doing and what it is that they're supporting. Interestingly, even though this was a user conference for people for using a particular tool, you can see there that still, even though you might have the PPM tool dream, your organization is utilizing many more. And again, you know, it's good practice around some of that kind of stuff lacking within organizations. But looking forward, so looking for some of the practical things in terms of what can be done in terms of the kind of delivery frameworks, the use of them, the mandated, the flexibility around allowed around them, all of that kind of thing. There's probably nothing there that will feel unfamiliar to you. I think you'll probably guess that you'd probably be talking about some of these things if you were sat around that table as well. Eileen, any thoughts from you in terms of when you were looking at some of this, some of the outcomes for these?
Well, I think that it wasn't necessarily in terms of the delivery framework. What we'll come on and touch about a bit more is this kind of CSR and regulation in terms of somebody actually wrote on the table, good luck with it because I don't know what it's about. But the delivery framework, there's going to be a couple more as we go through the rest of the activities. So a couple of other things that kind of come up and a couple of events that will kind of will feed on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Also good, obviously, to hear from other people and they're talking about their PMO, as we know and love from PMO conference. That's what we always, you know, we like to hear how other people are doing it. This one here is Pets at Home. So Anna from Pets at Home was talking about their PMO journey. They're quite a quick one, really, coming on board in 2021 and not having anything in place into doing lots of good stuff. And I think just to reiterate, I think we see these slides quite a lot. Certainly when we do PMO conference sessions, when people are talking about, you know, our journey, what we've done and all that kind of thing, these come up regularly about having a purpose, having a value, having a vision, and then a clear definition about what the role is from the PMO. We say every time, you know, does your organization, does your PMO have something like that? And again, there's just another example for you to have a look at and to mull over and to think, you know, actually, yeah, that's a really nice piece there. But I think I really like the story and what it is that achieved in such a short amount of time. But I'm going to try and grab her for PMO conference next year in June, so you can hear the story, because it's pretty good. It is quite a nice way that they've been going about things. Plus, it's about dogs and cats and pets. So what, you know, that's lovely.
What's not to love?
Indeed. So yeah, and then on to something else. Eileen.
We were invited to go and do a similar thing with program framework, a slightly kind of a smaller, less kind of flash affair than the Waldorf. Something locally in Birmingham, so local for me. So Lindsay came down to Birmingham, and they were talking about the various kind of tools available from Microsoft to cover different projects and people who did project management. We went and talked a little bit about friction between the PMO and delivery teams. And obviously, the big thing is to kind of about friction is about the differentiation between kind of friction and conflict. And what we're really talking about is kind of intellectual friction, you know, not rubbing each other up the wrong way. And it's quite interesting in terms of kind of how that can be used to best effect. So a talk is available within our library if you want to go and have a look at it. But just a couple of points that I pulled out, not necessarily just in relation to our talk, but in terms of some of the conversations we had with the people who were in the room. Quite interestingly, you know, not everybody's heard about House of People. How can that be? We must have printed thousands of stickers at least to kind of ask the question. But so it was nice to kind of get out to a new audience. There was definitely the feel, and again, this kind of starting to come up time and time again. My favourite word, ubiquitous, which I would have put on the slide if I could spell it. But everybody's doing projects now. And from Microsoft perspective, what they're trying to do is to get a tool for everybody. And it's just important we choose the right one. And I think the other thing that's starting to kind of really hit amongst our radar is, what is our role across, you know, the people who are kind of what we would call professional project managers who do that day in, day out. And what is that for? What support do we give to people who are kind of just delivering things which are as part of their day job, kind of things that they've classed as a project, because it has that old definition of a start, a middle, and an end, and the type of kind of intellectual friction we have at those kind of different layers will be quite different, and therefore our views are going to have to be quite different. And again, we've got another webinar coming up talking about the accidental project manager. These people who kind of doing projects never really want to be a project manager, just part of their day job, coming up, which will be interesting to see again how that support is delivered from a PMO perspective. I think the other thing is as well is looking at this kind of tools for everybody, how many of those tools are actually supported by the PMO, because a lot of them are now, kind of the planner tool that they were talking about is actually in everybody's Outlook 365. So yes, it's only when you get to the kind of the more the detailed kind of planning project tools that the PMO get involved. So I think it's the kind of the potential for kind of growth, but potentially losing control of what's happening in the PMO scope is going to be interesting over the next 3 to 5 years, I suspect.
Not even 3 to 5 years, because this one here was the one that got everybody in.
Microsoft Copilot is evolving from your personal AI assistant to your team AI assistant. Introducing Team Copilot, a new valuable team member helping everyone achieve more together. You'll be able to add Copilot as a meeting facilitator, taking notes during the discussion that everyone can edit and add during the meeting, along with follow-up tasks and actions for everyone to see. Sharing and managing the agenda with the team, keeping the conversation on track, and integration with Teams Rooms ensures Copilot can continue taking notes, even for ad hoc meetings. You'll be able to add Copilot as a collaborator in chats, keeping everyone aligned with up-to-date insights as the conversation happens, and interacting with the team, responding to questions based on messages and shared files. You'll be able to add Copilot as a project manager, creating project plans with tasks and goals, and assigning them to team members. Copilot can also take on completing tasks on behalf of the group, notifying team members when input is needed, and facilitating group collaboration to complete the task. With Team Copilot evolving to provide team assistance, your team will be more productive, collaborative, and creative together. Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah, for everybody in the
Microsoft.
Let me get that. No more minute taking and all the rest of it. However, it's expensive, but these are the things, isn't it? It's it's an interesting one, but lots of pluses and minuses, I think. But it certainly got people in the room buzzing, because it was like, yes, we don't have to take minutes anymore, and we know how we all feel about that. So time on to something different then. So coming straight from Birmingham back up to Manchester, I got invited to the Digital Leaders Awards dinner. Basically, the House of PMO has its PMO competency framework is published by TSO, and TSO invited me along to join them at the awards dinner, just to make up numbers, really. Little did we know that with me that we're doing more than just making up numbers. Thank you very much. And finding out a bit more about what's going on in the wider world, certainly around things like digital transformation. And indeed, if you're not familiar with what digital transformation is, there it is. It's all about transforming businesses and using digital technology in order to do that across many different business areas. And look, there's that horrible word value delivery. So I thought, right, what is this? This is going to be my bugbear, because I did actually, while I was having my dinner, somebody sat next to me from a consulting firm used the word value. And I'm like, well, we're not allowed to use that word. And it actually pulled him up and he said, yeah, you're quite right. I'm not actually defining what I'm talking about here. But if you look in the definition of value delivery, that word benefit also comes out, because that's my bugbear. Value, benefits, it's all like people are using it interchangeably. Anyway, right, I'll stop talking about that. So I just thought it was interesting from the conversations that we were having around that table and meeting a few people that evening from obviously an industry. It is project management at the end of the day. They're just calling it digital transformation. It's a big portfolio of work, is it not? And luckily, there was somebody on the table that actually worked in a PMO, which was really pleased to see. Exactly. Who was working for the Department for Work and Pensions. She was working and building PMOs for the DWP's directorate for AI and innovation. So, you know, at least obviously there's some stuff going on in government. It just led me to think about actually what are some of the challenges that digital transformation sector, tribe, whatever you want to call them, these are some of their top challenges. And again, they don't look any different to any project, regardless of what sector you're in. They probably all look the same, but of course they've got that rapid technological advances that keep coming at them. Yeah, I just thought, you know, there should have been more PMO people in that room, because I think we can be helping some of these digital leaders, as they call them. Yeah, it was fascinating. I thought initially that I would have nothing to say, but actually it became apparent really quickly that, yeah, it's just another area of industry that are also struggling with change, but of a technical nature. Which brings me on to another technical kind of advanced AI event. And I've actually got a couple of people here today that I notice have turned up. So do feel free to give me a couple of your insights, because I'd love it. If you want to put your camera on and take your mic off, I'd love that. Project Hack 23, surprising how many people still don't know that this exists and what it's all about. Very quickly is that there are obviously some things that are happening around the whole project data analytics and AI fields that are going to have big impact on project delivery. Projecting Success have been running Project Hack events for quite a while now. I think Eileen and I were probably at one of the first back in 2017. They're still going really strong. Who is there? Who wants to come in and tell me how it went? Sarah, are you still online?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, it went really well.
Hacking away. Which challenge were you working on?
So I did challenge 1, because it's a real life problem for me where senior leaders don't seem to like Microsoft project plans. They want it, you know, taken into something like PowerPoint. So yes, that was the challenge that I did. And we got part of the way there. Didn't quite get to what I would have liked as the final solution, but really great couple of days. And if anybody fancies it, don't worry about whether you're technical or not, because actually some of the work is around defining what the final solution needs to be. And that's what we do all the time.
Yeah, no, perfect. I mean, you're doing it over 2 days. It's pretty full on. You've got to not only be thinking about the challenge, but you're meeting new people. So you've got to kind of gel together as a team. And you have got different challenges that are there that you can choose. You know, you get to see what those challenges are before you arrive and look at what it is that they're trying to do. And essentially, you've got different types of people around the table. So they need the project people, which is obviously sort of Sarah's there. You'll have some people there that know their data, and you'll have people that know the kind of coding side of stuff. And it's about bringing all of those kind of people together in a place where you can have a bit of a play about, really. I mean, yes, you're trying to work on a challenge, but you're having that opportunity to do something where you're not necessarily going to get that within the organization. How often are the events? I think they're running them. I think it's probably we think the next one's in March, I believe. Is it 3 times a year ish?
2 or 3 times a year, yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Yeah, we will, keep telling you when the next ones are. And they've started moving around the country a little more. So the last one was Sheffield. This one's actually at Rolls-Royce in Derby. And we'll keep you posted. And what I'm also doing, I'm judging the outcomes of that hack event. So I'll be sharing that in our LinkedIn group as well, about what I thought were really interesting, and sharing some of the videos and all of that kind of good stuff. So yeah, really, really interesting things. But I weren't hacking this time. I was upstairs in Rolls-Royce meeting lots of other business leaders who are trying to figure out what they're doing within their organizations. And they were by and large people that work in major projects, which a little big way for me, because obviously we're not all working in major projects. However, we are working in project delivery, and this is what it's all about. It is about the future of project delivery. Some of the work that we're doing in the back end around projecting success, about how we're going to change, the business. They are looking at different aspects and picking off different parts of project delivery. This is just one of them. Risk management is one of them. Scheduling is another, and assurance. Those are the top three at the minute that they're working on. And they're working on trying to think about, yes, the stuff that we can do about Horizon 1, about refining what it is we're doing in this area. Second horizon, enhance, is all about how we can bring some new things in and do interesting things. I don't know how clear that slide is, but I'm going to be sharing a bigger deck with you later on. But Horizon 3 is actually how can you completely reimagine these areas. So risk management, how can it be, how can we completely do it differently? Ways that we've never thought about before, because actually we never had that kind of technology. They're doing a lot of work, but it's a big ask. The feeling coming out of the room is that, there's a lot of these things that are happening. Are we ready to share data amongst different companies? Are we ready to take open source stuff? That was one of the big ones, because the ask here from Projecting Success and what we're doing with the coalition. So the coalition is about businesses that want to come on board and start to drive these visions. The problems are with it is certainly with some of those people in the rooms about the competitive edge, those commercial aspects to it, which, to be fair, has been the thing over the last 5 years. Something that might have caught my eye, though, we know that it's going to be senior leaders that kind of need to start to understand some of this stuff, because it's a bit like PMO. You need the buy-in from upstairs. It's exactly the same with this kind of stuff. Are we going to be investing in the tools, the techniques, the skills uplifts that's needed, all of those kind of things? They have put together a one-day thing, which, again, if it comes up in conversation within your organization, people don't know how to get their head around all of this kind of stuff. Perhaps that might be something that you want to check out. A lot more stuff coming out of those couple of days that I will share, and I think we'll be doing that in kind of make sure you're in the LinkedIn group. We're putting some stuff in the library, and of course we'll be sharing it in the newsletter as well. I just want to just do a really quick poll. I hope that it'll just give us time to do it, because in the evening it had it was a dinner for all these people that had been there, and I got asked this question by one of the PMO managers that was there from a utility organization. And she asked the question about, she is currently trying to work out what's the best approach. Do you bring in a project data analytics team subsection within the PMO, so bring in the kind of data analytic skills, or do you invest in the people that are doing the PMO role in order to bring them up to date in terms of the kind of advanced data analytics stuff? It's a real interesting, both have different pros and cons. Couldn't get into it over dinner, but I thought it's a really interesting question. I don't know what the answers are, and I just thought, well, we're here today doing this, so there's a question. Anybody who's put other, what's the other way? What's the third way? We'd love to know that. Yeah, I mean, maybe we're a bit biased, wanting the skills within the PMO person itself. However, if you're not that way inclined and don't want to go down that route of and we're talking some pretty deep data analytics types, data science stuff, but actually you might not want to go down that route. But thanks, just for a quick poll, those were the results. So yeah, half of you think do it in the person, less think essential team, 2 of you are other, and I'd love you to put in into the comments why you picked other. It's going to be coming, we're going to be bringing up this all the time. I think it's going to be a really interesting journey, and just there's always some new tech that got shared. This was one end plan. If you've not seen this one, check this out. This is how you put your schedules and use AI to produce it. You can have a contract document and bang it in there and it'll give you a schedule. That's absolutely fantastic. And if you're looking for a theme tune for your PMO, there is something called UDIO, which allows you to basically come up with any kind of
Every month weekly click on my PMO HotHouse time. Sharing secrets, tricks and tips, feeling fine. Lindsay, Eileen and John leading the dance. They go from the house of...
Moving on, Eileen, to finish.
Okay, I didn't know that was coming. Right then, just I was at a client workshop, obviously all blurred out because it's not going to necessarily share that with them. Lindsay, could just do kind of your 2 clicks that we've got with it, but it was really interesting. We were asked to go and do some stuff around a particular topic, and as ever during lunchtime and coffee time, we got into lots of conversation about kind of what they were trying to do and kind of how much we were doing it. But the one thing that came out was they'd lost their PMO sponsor. And what they were trying to do was kind of, instead of doing what we would always advocate, understand your PMO vision objectives. Lindsay's already talked a bit about that today, and then define your services that kind of help you achieve that. They will go the other way, and they were saying, we do all of these services, this must be why we're here. And they were really, really, really struggling. And essentially the message they took away was actually, until you've got that agreement about why you're there, why somebody's paying your wages and is going to continue to want to pay your wages, it has to convey pay more vision and objectives first, and then the services that come underneath it. Short and sweet. Last night I was out in Birmingham. I don't know whether you can see in the top section side, they're building that doesn't look as though, because it looks like it's kind of fallen down Birmingham. They're getting ready for the Christmas market. Christmas is upon us, guys. And I went to listen. They were talking about sustainability and project management. And I know we've done quite a bit about sustainability PMOs, and there's going to be more coming at the conference and what have you. But yesterday, it stopped being an academic exercise and became kind of something that I kind of felt a bit more. And if you haven't looked at the UN Sustainability Development Goals, all 17 of them, it is really interesting just to have a look and start thinking about, well, what do we do in our organisation to embed these into projects? It's an absolutely great start to just having a look and really understanding what this sustainability thing we're all looking at. And then finally, just go back one, please, Lindsay. One more back. Right then. This was Wednesday night in London. Look, the world seems to have come back. Now, I recognise it's not a Monday night, so people might still be doing Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays, but the world seems to be coming out again. And now if you press the button, Lindsay, and what Lindsay have shown, we've done lots of things this month, and we're very privileged to do an awful lot of them, and I agree with that. But get out and about, join in, because what happens is you start linking up and joining the dots. So this is a lovely bit of sculpture at Liverpool Street. If you listen to some of the things without planning, we've talked about a number of kind of key themes that are coming up in customer events, in terms of sponsors events, in terms of conversations on LinkedIn. There really there's a number of key elements. I mean, get out there, talk to as many people as possible, and just get involved.
Thank you very much. And to give you some ideas of how to get out and about, here's some things that are coming in and coming up. So we've got obviously some online stuff that's coming up. So next Circle of Resource Management is the 4th of November. We're taking a week off next week, and another virtual event for PMOs and accidental PM. But also there's 2 in-person events. If you're a full or online member, you can get involved in the 2 events that we've got in London on the 22nd of November, and also at the Houses of Parliament on the 2nd of December. Or if you are one of these people who wants to stand outside the problem, just come and have a chat. 21st of November, we are having another PMO flash mob in a lovely part of London, London Bridge at Galleria. So please, if you're out and about, come and see us. Like Eileen's just giving you that big plead. We'd love to see you. So that's it. Sorry for overrunning slightly. Lots to pack in though. So hopefully you've taken some inspiration away from what we've been up to this month, and hopefully we'll see you next month. Yeah. Bye from me, Eileen.
Lovely to see you all, and hopefully see you before the next one.
And we'll see you.
Me. Pleasure as ever.
Yeah, we'll see you at the conference. All 3 of us will be there. Take care for now. Bye. Whoosh.
4 minutes over. That wasn't bad.
Take care, everyone.
Done. All out.
You're still live streaming. Don't swear.